G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video, and here we go with a FIA Manufacturers Cup combination. This one is Alsace Village in Group 4, of course being part of the exhibition series currently happening for Manufacturers Series in Gran Turismo Sport. This particular race here, let's have a look at some of the names in the lobby. I think this was probably second split here, as I'm matched up near the front. So we've got Rosmo in behind me, we've raced him before, and a couple of names I've seen but not really raced against. I've seen Schnickerman up in position 1 at this point, but other than that, a lot of new faces in here. It's good to see. But one thing, you know, I don't really want to spoil it, but like, I wasn't really initially planning on making a video after I did this race. I recorded the footage. I recorded the footage of all my races in case something happens. I wasn't, you know, I did the race, wasn't really planning on doing it, but then, you know, I went back on the footage and I thought, oh, I could probably get something out of it. But let's go around for our qualifying lap here at Alsace Village in Group 4. Of course, we are in the McLaren, as that is my manufacturer for this round. Into turn 1, we're looking on the left hand side. It's essentially just after the 50-metre board, just before the start of the curb on the left. Third gear around there, nice and gently around that corner there. It's a very strange circuit, this one. And I think I thought I liked it more than I do. It's still a good circuit, but it is a strange, weird circuit, and it's weird to race. Turn 2, easily flat out. Just keep it on the inside. For turn 3, we're braking just on the arrows on the left-hand side when they start. Get it into that apex. Get onto that curb. As you can see, it tightens up majorly on the exit. This is turn 4 now. You can see it's just, you know, I think in some cars it is flat out, but not in this car. This car's actually quite understeery, so we do have a bit of a lift through there. Coming into turn 5 on the left-hand side, braking just before the start of the curb, down into third gear, throw it in, leap on the curb and use all of that on the exit. There's an extra little bit of, I don't really know what it is, some netting beyond the curb that gives you grip. Coming into this corner, braking just on the start of the arrows on the right hand side this time, get it into that apex once again. Similar fashion to turn 3, tightens up majorly on the exit. Coming into turn 8 now, we've got to chuck it in from high and wide and ease off the power, down a gear as the car slows down, get it into that apex and then power up towards the exit. Turn 9, easily flat out. Turn 10 and 11. 11 is the hairpin. Turn 10 is this left kink. In the braking zone for 11, don't really have a braking point, just get it stopped basically. Turn 11, nice and ultra slow through here, so you can get onto the power in one foul swoop, if you will, so you don't have to lift. And then turn 12 is a lift in this car. Some cars it's flat out, like the Toyota GT86 is flat out. Heading through 13 and 14, they're not really corners, but as we head down the hill towards the final chicane, turn 15, braking just before the start of the curb on the left-hand side, and then this is turn 16, nice and slow through here, nice and tight, and then this is turn 17, kind of a little bit of a right kink just on the straight. As we head across the line, it's a 1:59.7. If you can kind of set anything below 2 minutes, you've done alright for yourself, so I was happy with that as my first run. Obviously, I felt, you know, a low 59 is possible in qualifying trim here. But as we're warming up to our second qualifying run here, coming through turn 12, I just tap the back of that Mustang there, and I'll get myself a 1 second penalty. Explain that. Honestly, well, I suppose I made contact and then drove past him, so the game thought, well, you just pushed him wide and drove past, but he was going very slow during an acceleration zone, obviously lifting through there. Come out for our second and final run. Coming through turn 8 here, I'm very, very wide, out onto the marbles a little bit. I'm just following this Porsche a little bit, and unfortunately I just clipped the grass there and made myself look like an absolute idiot and bin it off the circuit as we are trying to finish up our qualifying lap there, so we come out of that lap there. That's the end of my qualifying. Ultimately, it was 5th position. We kept our 1:59.8 essentially from the start of the session. One of 6 cars that broke the 2-minute barrier, which is nice to see. But as always with the FIA combinations, let's enjoy the introduction. Excellent work there, and let's have a look at the grid. Oh wait, no, we're just going to be shown the tarmac in between the first and second player there. And just as we see the second player, we cut to our car. So yeah, beautiful work, Polyphony Digital. Absolutely love the look of that specific piece of tarmac in between two cars. But anyway, that's enough sarcasm for now, I suppose. But let's start the race here. I wasn't sure whether I was going to start on the corner, so I did put traction control on 1. Turned it off when I realised I'm going to start on the straight, obviously. But we are going to just, you know, ease our way into the race now. We've got Aussie Roadrunner behind. Starting in 4th position, you can see just above his name, it's got a 15 in a white box. That's his DR level, essentially, in the lobby. So he's the 15th player in terms of DR. I don't quite see what number I have. 3 I can see on the bonnet there. So I'm 3rd in the lobby. I'm down in 5th. He's 15th ranked in the lobby, up in 4th. So very, very well done for Aussie Roadrunner there. But essentially, let's just try and get through this first lap as we almost dive up the inside there, but the back end just got out, just swung out, and it's all very awkward through turn 3. There's a lot of undulations and bumps through turn 3, and it just unsettled the car there. It invites a move from T exit up the inside in the Subaru. We've dropped a position, we've dropped off the lead pack, and we've dropped a position behind this Subaru, who we are faster than, you know, theoretically. So that's not a good move there. We've got Dan 888 behind, looking very ominous in the BMW M4 here. Coming in for this corner, he dives up the inside, contact with me, contact with the Subaru. He goes off the track. BMW slows up, to be fair to him, but yes, very ambitious move heading into turn 7 there. That's okay for us, I guess. You've got someone looking up the inside halfway through turn 8. The Ferrari looking up the inside there, not quite the place to do it. He's going to try and go for the move into turn 10 and 11. 10 essentially is the braking zone for turn 11. Looking up the inside there, he does go for a little bit of a dive, but we managed to keep the momentum up until we get to the apex there, and we managed to keep 5th position. Ferrari just drops off on the exit of the hairpin as well a little bit, but as long as we can get the power down relatively okay, going up the hill here, we should be able to ward off any further fighting or pressure from behind. Actually, the Ferrari has disappeared, so he's obviously binned it at some point during that small sequence there. But now we've got massive gaps, essentially. The guy behind, MXM XLV, I assume is Roman numerals for something. I'm probably not going to be bothered to see what number that represents, but yeah, moving on. He was out of slipstream, actually, but while I was over-commentating on his name, he has gotten back into about 5.5 tenths behind me, so we need to be careful here to ensure that he doesn't go for a move at any point or catch up enough ground to go for a move. The McLaren 650S is very, you know, it's actually quite a strong car in a straight line in Group 4. It's often near the top of, you know, power circuits like Monza, often near the top of the leaderboard there. I think the guy behind is in Hyundai, which we don't see very often. It's good to see cars getting, you know, underused cars getting used. And speaking of underused, this circuit is basically the CEO of GT Sport underused circuits. It's probably come up. It's probably come up maybe 5 times in Manufacturers Cup. It's probably a bit more than that, but it feels like, you know, it feels like it hardly gets used at all. In daily races, Nations Cup and Manufacturers Cup all included in that statement there. My thoughts on the circuit, I initially liked it more than I did after I did this race here, but in terms of a time trial circuit, I feel like it's a very addicting circuit to want to get right. I feel like you could time trial this circuit for absolute days to try and get the best lap time possible. But in terms of a racetrack, it's actually not that great, to be honest. I mean, you might look at it and go, wow, look at all those braking zones and sharp corners and hairpins and downhill braking zones, especially into that final chicane there. You might look at it and think, wow, that's very, you know, opens up a lot of overtaking opportunities. It doesn't really. The elevation change, actually got a penalty for 3rd position. He'll serve that in a second. Maybe we can get the position up thanks to that there, but as I was saying, the undulation change throughout the lap kind of negates any overtaking opportunity, as, you know, the corners you'd typically overtake on have such a strange way of changing through the corner that you can't get the power down when you're offline, basically. I think it's turn 3, is a very good example of that. The Scirocco does serve that penalty there, and we do get our way up into 4th position there, which is okay. This corner here is the one I was referring to as well. You can see you might be able to get up the inside, but then it tightens up so much and drops off out to the outside. So if you're offline, you're basically off the circuit. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. A lot of weird corners at this track. It's not that great for racing. I think Group 4 is about as fast as you want to go for a track like this. We have seen it in Group 2 before in the reverse direction as a daily race C about 2 years ago. That was actually okay, but you know, it's a weird circuit is basically what I'm trying to say here. But while I've been talking, there you can see we've been catching up to Aussie Roadrunner here. So I think maybe his DR level is, you know, no offense to the guy, but maybe it's indicative of his pace relative to the rest of the lobby here. So I think I'm a little bit faster than him at this point. And obviously, no offense to him at all. He's doing very well to be, you know, qualifying up the front of the grid in, you know, quite a high lobby, second split. It's a good place to be. It's better than, you know, being in the banger lobbies like DB or BB or something like that. Also, no offense to people that are there, as I know once you get there, you can get stuck there thanks to the stupid penalty system we're currently running at the moment. Thankfully, the penalties didn't really show their face in this video today, but I do know how bad they actually are. But coming downhill into the braking zone for turn 15, we have caught up quite a lot of ground to this Aussie Roadrunner guy. We are now firmly in slipstream range, and I think we do have the pace advantage on him at this point here. So it's going to be interesting to see how quickly we can actually get this overtake done, and hopefully we don't get held up behind him, because the leaders' positions 1 and 2 have driven off into the distance by quite a margin. Any time loss is crucial or critical in my race here. Essentially, I want to get as close to these leaders as possible in hopes to get an overtake done, and if I get held up, I'm not going to be able to do that. Not going for the move down into turn 3. You could dive down the inside there, but it's up to you to not make contact and fly off the track. He gets stuck on the inside there on the exit of 3, therefore has the nice line through 4. Doesn't open up that gap kind of early enough for me to get up the inside on the exit of turn 4 there, and he's going defensive up into turn 5. Not really diving up the inside here as you really throw it in, get close to the barrier. If you dive up the inside there, you're going to get hit into that inside barrier. Not where you want to be, obviously. Coming through turn 6 into turn 7 is this left-hander. We're going to be able to get it into the corner, not quite. He just has that grip advantage there, so he is in the Audi TT. Front engine, front rear drive, so an FF car. They are superb downforce, so he's going to be very strong through this corner. However, he is up high and wide, but he's able to meet that apex beautifully. Look at the exit he gets through there. That's absolute. That was an absolutely pretty much optimal line through there. That's pretty much dead on perfect, the line you want to take through there. So fair play to him. We catch up a lot of ground under braking, however, so those Audi TTs or FF cars have their brake bias set all the way to the back to sort of reduce the effects of tyre wear on the front wheels. Thanks to that, they're not quite as efficient under braking as something like the McLaren here, which you set your brake bias forward. Looking for a move here, we're very close behind, switching left, switching right, trying to throw him off into a mistake, but he doesn't fall victim to that kind of tactic there, and he manages to hold that position. So at this point here, I am getting held up behind him. I want to get my way past, and this is kind of what made me realise it's very difficult to overtake at this circuit. Coming into turn 1, you could potentially dive up the inside. There's a lot of room on the circuit. It's very wide, but yeah, like I said, the corners are pinch points. It's very difficult to get a move up the inside, a traditional kind of move. We're going to stick into that slipstream, heading up this straight through turn 2. Audi TT also very strong in a straight line as well. So yes, once again, not going to be able to pull alongside up the straight here. We're going to be stronger in the corners, especially because we're taking the racing line through here. See on the exit there, he gets a bit of oversteer as we go over that bump on the exit, and we catch up a little bit of ground, but he gains it all back through turn 4, a downforce corner, which of course the FF car is very strong at here. Turn 5 for the 5th time here, he is actually late on the brakes, runs a little bit wide through there. We gain on the exit there, but we catch up to the back of him at the wrong point. We're not able to kind of pull alongside with that extra momentum. I am fuel saving slightly, you might hear and notice. I kind of thought, well, I'm getting held up, I might as well save some fuel and reduce my pit refill fuel time. there, but, you know, ultimately I'm trying to get past him at this point, as having this Audi TT right in my face is very, very off-putting. He tries to take that line, but I just stuck my nose up the inside, probably not a very smart thing to do there. I'm obviously trying to get past. I was trying to get the power down and just pull alongside, but that one wasn't, you know, quite how we do things there. We both just lost time thanks to that, to the leaders. And all this fighting as well, where, you know, catching attention from Urson Saturn 9 behind. He was the Volkswagen Scirocco that served the penalty on the second or third lap or something. We do get the grip out of turn 12, long side through 13, through 14 we have the inside, but that's the braking zone for 15. We're going to try and look around the outside for turn 15. We actually get it done there. The McLaren superior braking, we managed to get it pulled up for 16 as well, almost going to that barrier on the inside of turn 17, but we are able to make our way up into third position. We are in a podium paying position at this point here, so we have been held up slightly. We've maybe lost maybe 1.5 seconds behind that Audi TT there, but you know, we are in third position after starting 5th, making our way up onto the podium. It's always a good showing, obviously. Here, coming through turn 2, we're going to be focusing on that gap between myself and the TT behind, as he was much better in a straight line, much better through turns 4 and 8, which are downforce corners, very fast-flowing downforce corners. So hopefully we are able to stay ahead and not fall victim to any moves. However, coming through turn 4 on this occasion, Aussie Roadrunner has just dropped majorly out of slipstream range. He lost about 3/10 in one corner. I would say he's maybe having a little bit of a ding-dong battle with Urson Saturn there, but maybe the effects of dirty air also affecting. There was massive gaps between myself and the leaders, so we come in at the end of lap 7 for our first of 2 pit stops in this race here. We actually haven't discussed strategy whatsoever, so we will discuss that now. It's a 2-stop race, soft and medium tyres available. However, the mandated tyres are medium, not soft, so you can potentially do the whole race on mediums, but, you know, the pace advantage from soft tyres is so great that you definitely want to be on them for some point in the race. So seeing as we're going for pit stops, we go for 2 7-lap stints on soft tyres and then the last 4 laps on medium tyres. And I think that was the optimal strategy to use. Quite a hefty chunk of refueling, so I don't think this McLaren is very good on fuel. So we did have a massive, you know, chunk of refueling to do. It wasn't enough to do a full second stint on soft tyres. We do all our refueling on our first pit stop, so we're going to go to the end on fuel. We have one more pit stop for tyres only, and that is essentially the strategy here. So we come out behind this Audi TT again, so are we going to get held up again, or no? He actually trips up on the curb going through turn 5 there, so he squirms off the circuit or squirms offline, and we're able to make our way past here, heading into turn 7. We actually get into that apex nicely that time, but have a look on the gap on the exit. 3/10 and climbing on the exit there, so the Audi TT having trouble laying its power down, as those FF cars do. Into turn 8, downforce corner, Audi TT should gain, theoretically, on the exit. He actually does, yes, he gains about a 10th, over a 10th and a half, nearly 2/10 on the exit of that corner there, and he's in my radar, very close going into turn 10, looks something inside for 10, but not quite able to get the car in there. Would also be very difficult to translate that inside line for turn 10 into an outside overtaking line through turn 11, which is, you know, a very, you know, around the outside of hairpins is, you know, requires a lot of skill to get that overtake done. Not saying he doesn't have any, but it is difficult to get it done, essentially. But we make our way in 4th position, 6/10 behind as we drop into the chicane. So I think what's happened there is he's gone slightly deep, being in my slipstream, down that hill. Braking zone is already extended because you're in slipstream, so he's gone deep there. We skip ahead quite a bit. As you can see, he completely dropped off over 11 seconds, only 12 seconds behind me at the end of the stint here. We were quite consistent, you know, low 201s, high 2-minute lap times there. It was all up to this point here where I just got the line wrong and was understeering a little bit too much, got onto that grass, completely fling it into the barrier. It's a wire fence, but it's obviously made of titanium or an immovable object with infinite force, and it completely stops the weight of a McLaren 650S flying in at over 100 k's an hour. But we completely binned it, essentially. Thanks to having that massive 12-second gap to Roadrunner behind, we have now dropped to 5 seconds. ahead of him at this point here, which is still very comfortable, but we completely dropped off the podium there. So any chance we may have had at making a podium position in this race has just been erased, thanks to me binning it into that barrier there. But I'm going to blame worn tyres, as it was my last lap on the second set of soft tyres. So we move over to the medium in the final pit stop. You see we're absolutely dead on perfect for fuel. The diamond was exactly where the refuel fuel level line was there. We've got 4 laps to go, 4.2 estimated laps of fuel remaining, which is fairly good here. You can see we come out of the pits 1 second ahead of Aussie Roadrunner here, so I'm not sure whether he's gone for a one stop, because he hasn't pitted a second time, not that I know of here. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously I'm going to have a grip advantage, because I would assume starting near the front at the start of the race he would have started on soft, and going for a one stop would have gone onto medium tyres for the second half of his race. So I would assume I definitely have a grip advantage over him at this point here, and I think I do, as we catch 2 tenths going through turn 3 and through turn 4. Let's have a look at the gap. Is he going to gain on the exit? He is a tenth, maybe a tenth gained on the exit there. But ultimately, it wasn't going to translate, and in fact, I think he actually binned it at some point, or had gone in for his second pit stop, as he completely dropped out of the totem on the left-hand side of your screen. But we come across the line in a rather lonely 4th position, massive gaps ahead and behind, finishing, about 15-16 seconds behind the guy in 3rd, and finishing also about 13 seconds ahead of Rosmo in 5th. So, it was a rather lonely race, and that's what I mean. Most of the race was on my own, so I wasn't initially going to make a video out of it, but, obviously pulled something together. I got about 23 minutes of racing action there, 162 points, fastest driver from McLaren actually, so, that's something, I guess. But a 162, it's down there in terms of the points that I can achieve. I can normally get up to about 180 to 200 points, but that was okay. I just did the one race as well. I probably could have gone again and got in top split, but I didn't. I felt like that was enough. So do hit that like button if you enjoyed, and do subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me. But that's going to be the end of this one today, and that means that is it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.